And your friends would murder you, sweetheart, without turning a hair.
What friends?
What friends? I'm the only friend you've got, Tracy. Now, who are they? Where are they, huh?
You're killing me, bitch! What's going to happen to me?
I don't know, Lizzie. You'll have to wait till Mrs. Davidson comes back from seeing the ambulance off.
She's dead, isn't she?
I don't know.
She's dead, all right. There was blood everywhere.
Did she attack you?
She tried to choke the living daylights out of me.
Why?
I don't suppose we should have put the bite on her.
The bite? Did you try to borrow money from her?
No, you know, the bite. Oh, it doesn't matter. If she hadn't been so mad on gambling, it would never have happened.
Did you have to hit her so hard?
When you're being throttled to death, you don't think how hard you're going to hit somebody.
How is she?
She's dead, isn't she?
No, she's not dead. She's unconscious. But we won't know the full extent of her injuries until she's been examined at the hospital.
Are you sure? Or are you just trying to make me feel better?
No, she is unconscious. But you are still in very serious trouble. Now come into my office and explain exactly how all this came about.
I'll take over, Meg.
How bad is it, really?
Don't know. Look, the news is probably all over the prison by now, so keep your ear to the ground. You might pick up something that's useful.
Right. Just seems so out of character for Lizzie to become so violent.
Yes, I suppose it is. Still, gets to all of them sooner or later. So you pretended that race call that you'd recorded was a live broadcast, so White had to pay up?
Yeah, that's right. We only did it to send her broke so she couldn't run that book anymore.
How did she find out?
I don't know, she must have found that cassette.
But why were you the one she attacked?
Like I said, I don't know. She flew into me cell screaming at me and tried to choke me to death. As I was struggling to get away from her, my hand knocked the electric jug. And as I was just beginning to black out, I grabbed hold of it and flung it at her as hard as I could. Next thing I know, she was just lying there and the blood was pumping out of her head.
Anything else?
I broke the jug.
Was there anyone else around at the time?
No, no one.
So there's no one to corroborate your story?
It was self-defense. She was going to kill me.
Well, self-defense or not, there will still have to be an inquiry. Unfortunately, there is no witness to the attack, but we can get the other women to verify your story about the gambling.
Are you going to send me to the pound?
No, I don't think that will be necessary. I'm inclined to accept your story of self-defense for the moment. However, you will be confined to your cell until the inquiry by the visiting justice.
Fair enough.
And Kay had her hands round Lizzie's throat, and Lizzie was going all red in the face. I just grabbed the first thing I could lay my hands on and hit her over the head.
Oh, my God.
How's Lizzie? Oh, she seems all right. But I hit Kay too hard. I think she's dead.
What? I knew we shouldn't have pushed that girl too far. See, I've done it again, haven't I? All my plans always end up in disaster.
Oh, shut up, Judy. It wasn't just your fault. Everybody had a hand in it. Where's Lizzie now?
Well, just after it happened, we heard Jim Fletcher coming down the corridor, and Lizzie made me get behind the door. She said if they found out that I'd done it, I'd lose me parole, and Danny'd be worse off than ever. I couldn't think. I just did what she said.
You mean you let Lizzie take the blame?
Well, it was her idea, not mine.
Well, you shouldn't have let her do it.
Oh, shut up, both of you. Screaming at each other isn't going to help, is it? We got to figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah, but you know what the screws are like. They'll lumber her for murder. I mean, it's only Lizzie's word that it was self-defense.
Yeah, we can all vouch for Lizzie, and everyone knows what Kay White's like.
No, there's too much risk. Linda's got to go to Mrs. Davidson and tell the truth.
Yeah, sure, then it'll look like conspiracy, won't it? Besides, Linda's parole comes up in a few days. If she gets in any trouble now, she's going to miss out.
Well, tough luck, she did it.
She saved Lizzie's life.
No, Doreen's right. I can't let Lizzie take the rap. I'll go to Mrs. Davidson. But I've got to find out what Lizzie told her so our stories match.
Kay White. She's more trouble dead than she was alive.
If I were you, Lizzie, I'd write down everything that you can remember about the incident and everything that led up to it. Even the smallest detail might be important.
Oh, what do you reckon's going to happen to me, Mrs. Davidson?
Well, I can't be sure, of course, but if the other prisoners corroborate your story, your claim of self-defense may be accepted.
But there isn't really any doubt, is there?
Nothing can be certain until after the inquiry.
What's all the excitement about? Everyone's looking mysterious and whispering in corners.
They carried Kay White out on a stretcher.
Why? Was she sick?
No, dead.
Dead?
Apparently.
What happened?
She got into a brawl with one of the other women and got her head bashed in.
God, I hate this place. I never knew people like this existed.
Well, it's all experience.
Well, I've had this experience and I can live without it. I'm getting out.
What?
I'm getting out on bail.
Joe won't like that.
No, you don't understand. The police are lifting the objection to bail.
Why? Did you tell the cops that...
No. The police want Joe to think that I've talked, so he'll make a move. Like set one of his thugs onto me. But the joke's on them, because Joe knows I'd never squeal on him.
As you have probably heard, there's been a very unfortunate incident involving Kay White and Lizzie Birdsworth. Now, it has come to my attention that the rule regarding gambling may have been broken by certain prisoners. However, I am prepared to overlook this in view of the serious nature of the inquiry in exchange for any information which may clarify the cause of this incident. Bryant?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Davidson. I'd like to help you, but I can't. I'll let you know if I think of anything.
Burns?
Oh, well, I don't know that I know what you're talking about, but maybe Linda could be more helpful.
Well, Jones? What about the rest of you women?
Very well. If you would rather protect yourselves than help Lizzie, there is very little I can do. But unless we can confirm Birdsworth's story, she could face very serious consequences. It's up to you.
Mrs. Davidson, how is Lizzie?
Worried, but otherwise quite well.
Is she in the pound?
No, I decided to confine her to her cell until we can verify her story and find out Kay White's actual condition.
Kay? But I thought she was dead.
No, she was unconscious when she left here. We are waiting for a report from the hospital.
Mrs. Davidson. Exactly what is it you want to know?
Well, first of all, I would like to hear something about Kay White's bookmaking activities.
Okay, you got yourself a deal. And how's Lizzie this morning?
I don't know. She hardly said a word all night. I told her we shouldn't make Linda tell the truth. She just flew off the handle, told me to mind my own business. And she reckons if Linda's mad enough to confess, well, she'll only deny it, silly old bugger.
Yeah, well, she's probably still worried, you know. She's not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, but it's more than that. It's the way she's acting towards me. I mean, she's turning against me like everyone else is.
Will you stop taking everything so personally? I'm just about fed up with your spoilt brat act.
Hi, Jude.
Hi. Well, you look in a better frame of mind this morning.
And why shouldn't I be? The police have dropped the objection to bail. I'm getting out,
Oh, that's real good.
isn't it?
Morris, your father's here to see you.
Oh, thanks. Good old Dad. I bet he couldn't wait to tell me he's arranged everything. See you.
Bye. Well, lucky kid, eh?
Good riddance, I say. That stuck-up, snotty-nosed trendy gives me a pain.
Don't you think it's time that we got off to the laundry so they don't think we've gone out on bail?
I'm glad you finally came to your senses and told the police what they want to know.
But I haven't told them anything.
What?
The police want everyone to think that I've talked, so they'll come looking for me. And then our ever-vigilant police force are going to pounce on them and lock them up forever.
What are you talking about?
But that's where the joke misfires, because I haven't talked and no one's coming looking for me.
You little fool, don't you understand what you're saying? Whether you've talked or not is unimportant. So long as you're on the loose, you'll be a constant threat to these people.
Daddy, you don't know. This man, we love each other.
Love? How can he love you and get you into this predicament?
You don't understand.
No, I don't. I don't understand you or this brainless attitude. And I don't understand how the police can be callous enough to deliberately put your life in jeopardy.
Daddy, listen.
I won't let you be a party to it. No one's going to set my daughter up. I won't pay the bail. You'll be safer in here than you are outside.
Safer in here? Do you know what happened yesterday? One of the women had her head smashed in a fight. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. At least out there I've got a chance. I'll die if you leave me in here.
You may die if I get you out. I know she thinks I'm hard, but I can't and I won't let the police use her in this way. Now, am I wrong, Mrs. Jackson? Would you let a child of yours be set up as bait in a police trap?
Well, I think...
I mean, I've heard this is the way they work, but you don't believe it somehow. It's too fantastic. It's bizarre, and it's wrong.
I think you're right.
What?
I agree with you. I don't think Tracy should be exposed to that danger. Now, I know it's a poor alternative, but she'd be much safer in here. Believe it or not, we are here to help them.
Thanks. It helps to talk about it with someone. I must be moving. Bye.
Goodbye.
Lizzie. Who is it?
It's me, Linda.
How you going, love?
Are you all right?
I'm fine.
Look, I just feel awful about you taking the blame for what happened. Let me go and talk to Mrs. Davidson.
I couldn't let you do that. You saved me life. She would have throttled me.
But this could ruin your chances of getting out.
Look, you got to think of young Danny. He needs his mum now. The only family I got are away in America, and I mightn't see them again for years.
But it just doesn't seem fair.
Of course it is. Look, if I could have got my hands on that jug, I would have done the job myself. Anyway, she isn't dead, so it's not so bad. The worst that can happen is that I'll get a bit of extra time. And if the VJ believes me story, I might get off scot-free.
All right, Jokes, come on, you better get those meals for solitary.
Look after yourself, Lizzie.
All right, Birdsworth, you can go to lunch now.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. You got any word about Kay White?
Well, last we heard, she was still unconscious.
She's going to be all right, isn't she?
I don't know, Lizzie. I just don't know.
Hi. Gosh, I didn't think I'd see you again. What's happened?
It's my father. He refuses to pay the bail. He thinks I'll be safer in here.
Oh, well, honey, he'll probably change his mind once he's had time to think it over.
No, he won't. Not unless I tell the police what I know.
I see. So we're back to square one, eh? Hey, I didn't know you were married.
What?
Well, you're wearing a wedding ring.
Oh, no, that's my mother's wedding ring. She gave it to me the night she died. She gave it to me. She said, if you're ever in any trouble, put on my ring and I'll be with you. It's a wonder it's not worn through by now. I wish you were here.
I know what. I think, girl, you need some food in your stomach. How about lunch?
I'm not hungry.
Come on, I'm paying.
All right, but I probably won't eat a thing.
How about my dear? You'll have to. I have ordered a bottle of white. I have ordered a bottle of red. I have ordered a table by the window. And I have ordered pink serviettes.
Judy, when we were talking before lunch, do you remember me wearing my mother's wedding ring?
Sure, why?
Well, do you know what I did with it?
Didn't you wear it to lunch?
No, I'm sure I took it off and put it on the bed.
That's right, yeah, I remember you doing that. Yeah.
Well, it's gone.
Oh, honey, it's just probably fallen on the floor, got mixed up in the bedclothes.
No, I've searched the whole room. It's not there. Someone's stolen it.
Are you sure? Look, maybe you took it off when you were washing your hands.
No, I distinctly remember now. She did take it off and lay it on the bed before we went to lunch.
It was when I got back I realized it was missing.
Yeah, well, if I find out who took this ring, there's going to be hell to pay. You can bet on that.
I heard by the pension a worthless old ring like that anyway. It wasn't worth much. Wasn't even very nice.
How would you know?
Well, I saw you with it a couple of times. You used to fiddle with it when you got nervous, which was just about all the time.
Doreen, it's not how much it costs, you know. It's the sentimental value of it.
It was the only thing I had that belonged to my mother. It's my good luck charm.
Well, you're better off without it, aren't you? Because it didn't do you much good.
Mr. Fletcher? I know I shouldn't have been talking to Lizzie before, but I'm real worried about her. What do you think they'll do to her?
Well, that's up to the VJ.
Well, isn't there anything I can do to help?
Jones, look, I know she's a friend of yours. But for your own sake, keep well out of it.
But I was thinking if I could just
Listen,
talk to the...
your case is coming up before the parole board tomorrow. Don't jeopardise it. You keep well away from anything that'll draw attention to yourself.
But I could be the only one who could help Lizzie.
Just think of Danny. He's done nothing but talk about you getting out of here. He's even got me going through the papers trying to find you a decent place to live. No, you mustn't take any risk that'll end up disappointing him.
I've decided I'm not going to pay the bail.
I see. Why?
Because I refuse to allow you to make my daughter into a target for a bunch of drug-pushing hoodlums.
Mr. Morris, she'll be perfectly safe. We'll have her under surveillance 24 hours a day.
How many decoys have you told that to before that have finished up in the morgue?
I can assure you...
No, you can't. How dare you put my daughter's life on the line? I won't let you use her.
She didn't seem to mind when her so-called bloody friends used her. Now, Mr. Morris, we gave your daughter every opportunity to cooperate with the police of her own free will.
Oh, yes, I heard. Coercing a prison officer to put pressure on her. And look what happened. Where was your 24-hour protection then?
We are dealing with a desperate bunch of criminals, Mr. Morris. If we're going to catch those bloody villains, our methods have to be desperate. Your daughter refuses to name them. What else can we do, huh? Now, we're not dealing with kids here, kids selling each other grass. We're dealing with a highly organised drug syndicate trying to push $500,000 worth of heroin. Now, Mr. Morris, you've travelled in the East. You must have seen what heroin can do to people. Now, in the short term, sure, happy time. But in the not-so-long term, it is a deliberate, slow, torturous death. Murder. Now, do you want your daughter mixed up with that business? That is the murder business.
Didn't know she was carrying this stuff. If only she didn't have this misguided sense of loyalty.
It'll go well with your daughter at the trial if she cooperates with us, you know that. And don't think for a minute she's safe out at the prison, because we've already got reason to believe that they've got one of the gang in there to keep an eye on her.
All right. I'll arrange bail.
Thank you.
Doreen, just a minute. I want to talk to you.
What do you want?
Did you take my ring?
What would I want with your rotten old wedding ring?
Well, like you said, it wasn't worth much, but it had special value to me.
Well, I haven't got it.
All the other women are treating me all right now, except you. Why? What have I ever done to you?
You wouldn't know, would you? It's because all you ever think about is yourself. You reckon you're the only one in here with problems? You go whinging and snivelling around and everybody feels sorry for the poor little rich girl. Well, I got problems too, you know, and none of my friends are interested because they're too busy rushing around after you trying to cheer you up. It's your own stupid fault you're in here, nobody else's. Yes, I took your ring. Here it is. Here, go on. Rush back and tell everybody that I stole it from you to hurt you so they'll hate me even more. Well, I hope it is lucky. I hope that you're lucky enough to get out of here and never come back.
What is going on?
Go on, tell her.
I accused Doreen of stealing my ring, but I was wrong. She found it, she's just trying to give it back to me. I'm sorry, Doreen.
Oh, hello, Mr. Morris.
Mrs. Jackson, I've got a release order here for Tracy.
Oh,
Yes, I'm sorry.
there's nothing to be sorry about. Well, at least I hope not.
Yes, well, the police have promised me a 24-hour surveillance, but I'm still not too thrilled about it.
Oh, I can imagine.
If only I could persuade her to identify these people before it's too late. The police say it would act in her favor at a trial.
I'm sure it would.
Look, I don't suppose you'd like to come to dinner with Tracy and me tonight?
Dinner? Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean,
can't-
apart from it being nice to have your company and everything, I thought you might be able to throw some fear into her about some of the things that go on in here, so she'd realize the seriousness of her position.
Well, I think she knows what to expect already. But apart from that, regulations don't allow prison officers to associate with prisoners on the outside. If it had been under any other circumstances, I'd love to have come.
Well, then maybe you and I could...
I better go and get Tracy. She'll be very excited.
It feels so good to be out of that place. Thank you, Daddy.
It's wonderful to have you out, but remember, it might only be on a temporary basis.
All right, let's not think about it now. All I want to do is get home, have a long hot bath, and put on some new clothes. I don't want anything to remind me of that place.
Tracy, I want you to think about it. And I want you to think about it very carefully. There's always a chance that you might not have to come back here, or if you do, not for very long. But you've got to tell the police what they want to know. You could be in terrible danger.
All right, I'll think about it, but not now. Let's not spoil it. Anyway, I have plans for us for tonight. I'd like to take your glamorous daughter out to the most expensive restaurant in town.
All right, sure.
Why do you keep going on about her? I mean, she's no different to any of us, except she's only on remand.
Look, I feel sorry for the kid, that's all. I mean, finally the police decide to drop their objection to her getting out on bail, and then her father refuses to pay it.
Well, I bet you wouldn't feel so sorry for her if she was 50 years old and plain.
That's not true. Look, I just feel sorry for her, that's all.
Why don't you admit it? You've got a crush on her. Every time she comes near you, your eyes go all soft and you get all awkward.
Will you lay off me? Or you're going to get all soft and awkward because I'm going to put you in the dryer.
I thought you said that Tracy's father wasn't going to pay a bail.
Yeah, that's what she told me.
Must have changed his mind. I just saw them leaving together.
Oh, well, that's real good for her, isn't it? I mean, it'll make you happy, won't it, Dora?
Well, you'll be a lot better off too, won't you, Jude? I mean, it wasn't going to work out, was it? Anyway, you couldn't put me in the dryer because I'd go all soft and fluffy and you couldn't do a thing with me.
So what's new about that, eh?
4 copies of each, thank you, Sally. Tomorrow morning will do.
Mrs. Davidson, do you have a minute?
Yes, Mr. Fletcher, what is it?
Well, I was just wondering how you thought that Jones would go with the parole board tomorrow.
Well, she should be all right. She does have a good record. And, of course, having the responsibility of a child to look after should help her.
Yeah. He's going to be one very happy little boy. The kid deserves a break.
You sound as if you care more than you normally would.
No, not really. But weren't you advocating that we should concern ourselves more with the prisoner's problems?
Yes, but not to the point of personal involvement.
Good night, Mrs. Davidson.
Good night.
What with one thing and another, I reckon poor old Linda won't sleep much tonight.
Yeah. Lizzie, now don't get mad at me, but do you reckon you're doing the right thing? I mean, it's still not too late. Linda's really prepared to tell him what happened.
No, love. I want it this way. I don't want Linda to suffer. When she hit Kay over the head, she did it to protect me. Now I got to protect her.
Yeah, I know that, but in the long run, you'd both get off anyway.
Yeah, in the long run. But what we got to do now is think of Danny. He needs his mum and she needs him. The poor little kid, he's had a very rough time. It could ruin his whole life. Now, we've got to think of the kids, haven't we?
Well, what about Josie?
She'll probably be in America for years. The best I can do for her is write to her. And I can do that just as well in here as on the outside.
What if they don't believe your story?
They will. Once they find out what Kay's really like, the worst they can do is give me a few extra weeks. It'll be really worth it just to get her out of the way for a little while.
Well, have you heard any more about how Kay is?
No, I haven't. But if she's lasted this long, she must be all right.
Yeah.
So how'd you get onto this flat?
Oh, you know Mr. Bronson, the news agent I work for?
Yeah.
Well, he heard about it from one of his customers.
Well, it's got 2 bedrooms, living, dining room, kitchen and bathroom.
And its own balcony, and its own car park area.
You haven't even got a car.
Yeah, well, we will have by the time I've saved up. Mr. Bronson said I can do the morning round as well as the afternoon round, and on the weekends...
Hey, hang on. Hey, don't take on too much. You've still got your schoolwork to do, don't forget.
Well, I've got to look after Mum first. She's not going back in that place again.
Yeah, somehow I don't think she will either, Danny.
Well, it is going to go okay tomorrow, isn't it?
Well, it'll have to, won't it? And having a place for you both to live will be a big point in the favour. You've done well, mate.
Oh, I didn't do much. Mr. Bronson helped.
Well, I suppose I'd better pop down and see him and arrange about the lease and things, eh?
Oh, it's already been done. Mr. Bronson saw the real estate man this afternoon.
Well, doesn't seem to be much left for me to do then, does there?
Oh, come off it. I had to do something. You've done everything for us up to now.
Well, in that case, you can do the washing up.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Davidson.
Sally, could you get out the files for Birdsworth, Smith and Gaffney, please? The VJ will need them later this morning.
This message just came in for you.
Miss Bennett, would you bring Birdsworth to my office straight away, please?
Right.
Morning, Mrs. Davidson.
Good morning, Lizzie.
I'm going to see the VJ today, aren't I?
Yes, later. Sit down, Lizzie.
He's going to have a busy day. What with me and Bea and Margot. Who's going to be first up?
Lizzie, when you see the VJ, it will be on a different charge.
Different charge? Why? I hadn't done nothing else.
No, I mean, the charge will be changed. We've been notified by the hospital. During the night, Kay White died from a clot on the brain.
Oh. I suppose I'm going to lose me buyer privileges.
VKC, the base.
Hello, Jan. Tracy.
Oh, hi. Heard you were out. Rang your father this morning at work. How was it?
Well, if you've got a week to spare, I'd tell you.
Oh, sounds fascinating.
Listen, Jan, are you doing anything this morning?
Not really. Why?
Well, can you come over?
Oh, I'd love to. When?
Well, as soon as you can. And, Jan, would you wear something distinctive?
But I always do. Why?
I just want you to look conspicuous.
Sounds fascinating. I'll be so conspicuous no one could miss me.
Marvelous. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Oh, Lizzie, are you all right?
No talking. Now get back to work, Jones.
But she doesn't look well.
I said get back to work.
Lizzie, it's Linda. What's happened?
Kay White died during the night.
Oh, God, no. Oh, look, I'll have to go to Mrs. Davidson.
No, don't be a fool. Doesn't make any difference. We thought she was dead in the first place. Now, don't you worry. I can bluff it out.
Oh, but Lizzie, what if they don't believe you?
So what? I'm old. They won't hang me.
But you'll lose your remission.
So I'll be stuck in here for a few more years. What's the difference? I got nothing on the outside. All my friends are in here.
Oh, I got to do something. I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
Now, you listen to me. Your parole hearing comes up today. The only important thing is that you get out of here so that you can look after young Danny. I can look after myself, but he can't. So beat it before you get caught talking to me, right?
Lizzie, I'll never forget you for this. Have you heard yet?
What?
Well, I was just talking to Lizzie. Kay White died last night.
Wow. I thought she was going to be all right.
She must have had a relapse.
Well, that does it. Then you'll have to go and see Mrs. Davidson now.
Well, I wanted to, but Lizzie wouldn't let me.
But you've got to. The VJ's seeing her today, and she might get lumbered with manslaughter or maybe even murder.
No, Doreen, she's made up her mind. It's how she wants it.
It's all right for you, but it means she's going to have to stay in here much longer, maybe even years. And we were going to get out together at the same time so we could look after one another.
Doreen, everybody knows that Lizzie prefers it in here because this is where her friends are.
Well, what do you think I am? It means I'm going to be outside all by myself. She could die before she gets out of here.
Oh, stop it, stop it. I'll go and see them. I'll tell them what happened.
You can't do that, love. I mean, they'll never believe you anyway. It won't do you or her any good at all. She wants you to get your parole.
What chance have I got? With no job to go to. Nowhere to live.
Alistair McLean and MI5. What's going on? Thanks for coming over, Jan. You're a love. My God, you look awful. You're so pale. Well, it's hard keeping the suntan in Wentworth. Oh, now, darling, let's sit down, have a nice cup of coffee or a long vodka, and you can tell me all about it. Well, actually, I haven't got much time. Did you see a man parked in a car across the road? Yes, who's he? Our man from ASIO? No, he's a pushy young journalist in one of those Sunday papers. He's been hounding me for a story. Oh, don't be in it, dear. Hold out for one of the better publications. I've got to go out for a while now, and I don't want him tagging along. Ah, so that's why you wanted me to wear this gear. Exactly. Say no more, my dear. It's all yours. Just give me a bottle of vodka, a straw, and leave me to it.
Having heard the evidence and read the reports, I trenchantly criticise the action of the prisoners in taking retribution into their own hands, instead of seeking advice from the officers. However, I've no doubt Mrs. Davidson will exact the appropriate punishment of the other offenders.
They was only trying to stop Kay from gambling. It's against the rules.
I'm well aware of that. But they must learn it isn't their responsibility to hand out punishment.
But no one was going to get hurt.
But they did. Didn't they, Birdsworth? Which brings me to the next point. I find it very difficult to believe, taking your age and physical condition into consideration, that you would be able to inflict a blow to cause such extensive damage to the deceased's head. After all, she was much younger and stronger than you. As there were no witnesses to the incident, I'm more inclined to believe that you laid in wait and attacked her before she could retaliate.
No, that's not true. She tried to choke me. Look at the marks.
You could have put them there yourself.
I feel I should point out that Birdsworth's record is entirely free of any actual physical violence.
Nevertheless, the fact remains. A woman now lies dead because of your actions. I've no alternative but to inform you that you will be committed for trial to face a charge of manslaughter.
Hey, wait!
Thanks, sir. Danny, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be at school.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, there's nothing wrong, is there?
No, I left at lunchtime. I couldn't wait to hear how Mum got on. They made up their mind yet?
No, not yet.
Well, how long are they going to be?
No, it shouldn't be too long.
Well, can I wait here?
We can't have you run around the streets, can we?
Well, if everything goes okay, how long will it be before Mum can leave?
Well, once her parole's been granted, there's no reason why she can't go straight away.
Maybe we could go home together.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, that reminds me. I've arranged to have some of your mother's things delivered this afternoon from your Aunt Sheila's. You know, your crockery, linen, that sort of stuff.
Well, that's great. Means we can move in together tonight.
Yep, that's right.
Oh, Mr. Bronson told me you called in on the way to work this morning. He said you paid for the bond and 2 weeks' rent. Thanks. I'll pay you back as soon as we get our money back from Aunt Sheila.
No, there's no hurry. Just wait till you and your mum are back on your feet again, okay?
Thanks. Well, I was pretty rotten to you when we first met, wasn't I?
You certainly were.
I'm sorry. You're about the best mate I ever had. It's going to be sort of strange, you know, not having you round.
Yeah, I sort of got used to having you around the joint, too.
It's going to be sort of strange.
Yeah. Strange.
Tracy, how the hell did you get here?
Hello, Joe. You surprised to see me?
Well, yeah, I thought you were still...
In the Wentworth holiday home. Well, I would have been if it was left up to you.
Come in, darling, come in.
Oh, don't worry. No one followed me. I made certain of that.
Hey, you look great. How did you get out?
Haven't you heard? The police offered to drop the objection to bail if I told them who set me up. I don't panic. Do you think I would? I had plenty of opportunity and a lot of pressure. But I have a strange loyalty to friends and people I love.
Tracy, I didn't know.
Bastard, you set me up. You told me I was carrying gold, not heroin.
Tracy, I didn't know, believe me. We were both double-crossed. Listen, I didn't get anything out of it either. The guy who was setting up the deal told me it was gold. I didn't know what it was until you were caught. Then it was too late.
So you kept yourself safe and let me take the rap?
How could I help you if we were both inside? What do you think I've been doing since you went in? I've been organising the best defence counsels in the country for the trial. I've been searching for the mongrel who set us up. Tracy, you know me. Do you think I'd have anything to do with heroin? Smuggling a little bit of gold to take advantage of the price boom, that's one thing, but hard stuff, that's poison of the worst kind. It's not my scene.
I'm sorry, Joe. But what could I think? It was vile in there. They weren't going to let me out until I told them who you were.
How did you get out?
Daddy paid the bail. They thought you'd come after me, so they're having me watched. Waiting for you to make a move.
What happened to the tail?
A girlfriend helped me. We gave them the slip.
You sure?
They haven't got a clue where I am. Oh, Joe, it's been so long since we were together. Just hold me and make me forget that place.
La love. Good day, Jude. Where's Linda? Did a parole come through?
Oh, well, she hasn't heard yet. She should be along in a minute. How'd you go?
Oh, it wasn't going too good for a while. And if it had been up to the VJ, I would have been in the pound for the rest of my life. He wanted to charge me with murder.
See, I told you, didn't I?
How'd you get out?
Oh, well, Mrs. Davidson brought up me records and said it showed that I wasn't a violent type. And then I showed him the marks on my neck that Kay left.
So he let you off scot-free, eh?
Well, not exactly. I've been charged with manslaughter.
Oh, Lizzie, no.
Oh, well, how do you feel, Linda? Your parole didn't come through, so it was all for nothing.
Now, you leave her alone, Dor. It was my decision. I told her not to talk. Now, what happened at the parole hearing?
I haven't heard anything. They must have knocked it back. Oh, Lizzie, it's been such a terrible waste.
Hey, come on, Joan, stop that crying. You've got a visitor.
A visitor? Who?
Well, he's a rather smart young man. He's come to take you home.
Oh. Home?
Yes, your parole's been granted. Now, come on, hurry up, get your things. That young man's getting rather impatient.
Now, go on, get going before they change their minds.
Danny! Oh. Mr. Fletcher tells me you found us somewhere to live.
Yeah, it's going to be beaut. I bet he didn't tell you he's paid for the bond and 2 weeks rental.
Yeah, well, that's just a bit of a loan to help you out.
Oh, Oh, Mr. Fletcher's arranged for all our stuff to be taken from Aunt Sheila's this afternoon.
Look, you better get moving or it'll get there before you do.
Goodbye, Mrs. Davidson. And thank you for all your help. Goodbye and good luck. Mr. Fletcher, I'll never be able to thank you for what you've done for Danny.
The only thanks I need is to never see you in here again.
Don't worry, you won't. Oh, you wait until you see the flat, Mum. It is fantastic. It's got a lounge room, 2 bedrooms, and a balcony. It's even got a separate car park for all the tenants. Oh. The furniture, it's not that good, you know, but we can paint it and you could make some new covers for it.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Fletcher, I seem to recall a conversation we had about prison officers not becoming personally involved with inmates or their families.
G'day, you took your time getting here.
I knew you'd be enjoying yourself. Didn't want to interrupt, did I?
Thanks for nothing.
No, don't tell me you've gone off her.
You've got to be joking. The day you see me getting serious with a dog like that, give us a nudge, will you?
You poor bugger. The things you got to do to earn a buck.
Oh, you can laugh. You don't have to put up with a boring bitch. What's the news?
Mr. McNally heard she was out on bail. He's a little bit concerned.
Tell him not to worry. She hasn't talked.
You sure?
She's in love with me. But I don't think we can run the risk of her walking around the streets with the cops on her tail.
Mr. McNally would agree with you. He feels a little accident might be good insurance.
She's all yours.
Asleep? What about the cops?
She gave him the slip.
That was kind of her. Well, if you've finished with her,
be my guest.
you weren't as good a sleeping pill as you thought. Don't worry, I've got a couple of boys downstairs. She won't get far.
Don't want to disturb anyone this time of night, Miss Morris.
He used to give me roses. I wish he could again. But that was on the outside, and things were different then. On the inside, the sun still shines, and the rain falls down. But the sun and rain are prisoners too when morning comes around. Last night I dreamed we were together, sharing all the love we'd known, till I had to face the nightmare of waking up alone. On the inside the roses grow, they don't mind the stony ground, but the roses here are prisoners too when morning comes around.